We say our body will always adapt, but that's a very dangerous statement to make, and it's grossly untrue. Our body never adapts, it evolves. Evolution is a process that takes eons. As we evolved over the centuries, a diet evolved with us. It was made up of about 80% real protein and 20% natural carbohydrates and fats. Today we refer to it as our traditional diet. As our lifestyle changed, so did our diet. But the changes were small increments over many centuries, and the food was always exclusively natural. We have always had inside us a digestive system designed by nature to process the food we eat. But only the natural foods created by nature. These were the foods that kept us slim and healthy for generations. We also have a basic instinct called intuitive eating. It led us intuitively to the right foods for our digestive system. But that system was the only thing that stood in the way of an industry that wanted to eventually replace all our natural foods with their own unnatural processed foods. So they broke intuitive eating. How they did that, you'll learn in the 3 world events that made us fat. Our traditional diet was intuitive. It guided us to the right foods our body needed. That never changed till 50 years ago, when we foolishly succumbed to a scare campaign that forced us to change everything. We obediently changed from our natural diet to a new modern diet that destroyed our natural intuitive eating system. Instead, we were faced with the first ever actual diet. It was called the food pyramid. It was made up of 80% unnatural processed foods and drinks and 20% natural foods and fats. Here we had a refined, well-functioning internal system and the foods that kept us slim and healthy for centuries. It worked for generations without a hiccup. And then we changed it. Common sense should have told us that this wasn't a very smart thing to do. But it was the 70s. It was a time when everybody had a theory about something and claimed to be an expert on everything. We gave our internal body a shock it has yet to recover from. In the process, most of us became addicted to processed foods that were called new carbohydrates. It wasn't long before we began to notice that everybody seemed to be getting fat. The 70s was the age of experiments and human intervention. It took place in all areas of nature and was considered a good thing. Nature could be improved and it could be proved wrong, we said. People could do better than nature, we said. It was only a matter of time till somebody would decide to improve on our foods, which we thought were boring, old-fashioned, outdated, all the things that everyone disapproved of in the 70s. It was time to modernize our diet, they said. There happened to be a group of people who aspired to become authorities on what they had decided was the right foods to eat. They decided the best way to get a completely different, new modern diet was to reverse the old one. They called themselves diet experts, and their modern new diet became known as the food pyramid. This was of great interest to the food industry that stood prepared for their first launch of dozens of new processed products. They saw the food pyramid as a good marketing opportunity that would not only get their products on the market, it would also give them immediate credibility that would otherwise have taken them a long time to get. The food industry got what they most needed, a marketing tool and products that would create a fast way to get big results. To accommodate the industry, the diet experts adjusted the food pyramid to include a large base of processed foods at the bottom. This meant the new diet contained at least 60% unnatural processed foods. Foods that had never been seen or eaten before. The result was that the food pyramid required us to eat more than 60% of unnatural manufactured foods every day. So what did the diet experts get in return? They got a massive advertising campaign they could never have afforded that made the food pyramid diet famous across the world. It also legitimized them as experts. During the ensuing 50 years, nobody ever intervened to find out how our body felt about this massive change to our daily diet. But there are some very clear signs. We have an obesity epidemic. We have a new deadly disease called diabetes type 2. Hospitals are flooded with demands for colonoscopies, and pharmacies are stocked to the rafters with preparations to alleviate digestive and intestinal problems. But most important of all, we lost the intuitive eating system that had kept us slim and healthy for centuries. According to statistics, obesity will affect up to 80% of the population by 2030. We can still prevent that, but we'll have to start now. You can learn more about what really goes on inside your body. Just click or copy the link below.